back to Waco World. I'm Davis Miles.
And I'm Hope Jean Paul.
Well, coming up, jewelry that makes you look thinner. Domestic diva Peg Peterson will be here with some rings and bracelets that will help you slim down your meaty wrists and fingers.
That's right. And I'll go womano a womano with Triple Threat Heidi Montag in one of our favorite segments, Two Girls, One Cup of Coffee.
But first, gas prices they've been all over the news lately with prices heading to $4 a gallon.
It's crazy, and it really begs the question, how are these astronomical figures going to affect the average Joe six-figure?
And here with the sneak peek of Crude Awakenings, his special report of one such American struggle with soaring prices at the pump, is host of 24/7's The Complication Room, Daniels Midland. Daniels, thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me. Great to be here.
So let's get right into it, Daniels. What's the dealio?
Talk gas.
Well, let's do it. Gas prices keep rising. And we're finally seeing how it's tragically affecting America's middle class, who are scraping by on $250,000 a year.
Yeah. And your special tonight profiles one of these average Americans and how he and his family are truly suffering.
That's right, Davis. It's the story of Steve Garland, a typical 45-year-old Dallas land developer, younger wife, 5 kids, couple of Escalades, and a modest 10,000 square foot home.
Salt of the earth.
Exactly, Steve was living the suburban dream. He was driving to work, driving to his gym, driving to Ruby Tuesdays, and most importantly, driving to his megachurch. But skyrocketing gas prices forced this humble man to make some serious sacrifices.
Wow. Now, what kind of sacrifices are we talking about here?
Hope, the ultimate sacrifice.
Platinum card.
Close. His faith. You see, Steve's megachurch was 12 miles from his home. That's an entire tank of gas in an Escalade. Making that drive 3 times a week, Steve was running on empty. But as you'll see in this first clip, Steve had a Sophie's choice to make. Fill his tank, or fill his soul.
These gas prices were crucifying me. So to save on gas, I sought out a closer congregation.
So you downsized your faith?
I left a 20,000 strong, stadium-seated, evangelical multiplex for the Unitarians. They were the only other option. I was desperate.
And they took advantage of that desperation.
I was vulnerable, and I fell prey to their dogma. They said they could give me guidance to help me through my financial crisis.
And do you feel comfortable telling us what kinds of guidance?
They claimed I had to change my lifestyle to make ends meet. Before long, I was using words like habitat and humanity. They got me to trade in my Escalade for a Prius. They even suggested that my wife get a job.
Wow.
Right?
You know, I've heard of these monetarians.
The recruiters of these churches prey upon people like Steve at their weakest financial moments. And before you know it, unsuspecting Steves are indoctrinated into their fanatical ideology, especially when seeking fiscal guidance.
Well, what kind of fanatical fiscal guidance are we talking about here?
Well, you just heard the horrific Prius story, but yeah. There were more and more horrific, dangerous ideas, like drinking tap water, cutting back on meat, convincing them to take their kids out of private school and put them into public school.
Oh my, this sounds like Cuba.
Or communism.
See, comrades. But it doesn't just stop with the finances.
No.
Yeah, they even had Steve almost believing that he should start saving the wetlands instead of developing them.
Okay, well, you know, I don't know how you come back from something like, I guess the only thing I can call it is brainwashing.
Well, you know what? Steve is one of the lucky ones. Let's go to another clip that shows just one of the ways Steve found his way back. Let's check it out.
So my wife and I scoured our budget, and we did find one glaring unnecessary expense. The kids' college funds.
Interesting.
We started looking at our friends who sent their kids to college and how they all went astray and fell into all that free-thinking garbage and left behind the morals of their families. That's when my wife and I decided to use that money to power the car to get the family back to the mega church now, when it most matters.
So, no college at all.
No, Daniels. We will homeschool college our children.
So you'll save money and morality.
That's the goal.
Well, I mean, I cannot wait to see Steve's whole story in its entirety. He sounds like he's been removed from here.
Oh, that's right, Hope. Deciding to not put that money into a liberal think tank and putting it straight into his gas tank is just one of the inspiring ways Steve got himself out of that mess.
Well, let Steve be an example in the wake of these escalating gas prices.
So we can all avoid these mistakes.
Yeah, it's really not that hard. If you take a look at your budget, you can really root out those unnecessary expenses like college. And so you can fill up at the gas tank with confidence.
Powerful stuff, Daniels. Thanks.
Thank you.
Tune in tonight to see all the other amazing ways Steve and his family are filling up their tank and topping it off with their values.
That's right. And to find out more about college homeschooling.
Tune in to Crude Awakenings in its entirety tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on 24/7. That is eye-opening.
Indeed it is.